Hello everyone, and so for the first ever review on this channel, I'm going to be reviewing Leader Class Legacy Series Blitzwing. I love the triple changes, especially Blitzwing. He played a minor role in the G1 movie, but I am looking forward to him getting a G1 or 86 accurate movie color. That'll be very nice to see. And, well, to be fair, don't know if I 100% buy it, because it might be a bit of like a Galvatron situation where it just doesn't change enough on him for it to be worth it. But this figure already does him justice. At least I think it does. Now, to start off, I'm going to talk about accessories, because I already have him holding his sword. So, for accessories, we got his, I'm not sure what they call his sword. I should have looked at what they call all the stuff. I promise I'll do better in some of the later videos, but it comes with a nice sword, very well detailed and painted for a figure from Hasbro in the recent days. I will admit they have cheaped out. There's a specific figure coming up where I have a big complaint about one of their accessories, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So, it comes with his sword. He comes with, as well, which can clip on the back. So, sword can also clip here on the back, due to that little peg. Clip there, two clips there, and obviously clip into his hands. These side little shoulder bits, they can also clip into, if you want to give him like a bit of a Bayverse Optimus kind of sword. You can do that if you wish to do that, but there's his sword. Then we also get a bit of a... These blasters are actually slightly different, I believe. Yes, no, they're not. Never mind. They are the exact same blaster, exact same mold, but you get two of them. Just a plain dark purple paint, but that is okay, because of how much else goes into this figure. And getting 3 accessories with this figure is quite nice. And I've found some pretty... Well, actually no, those aren't all of the accessories, sorry. Almost forgot. Now, you know, everyone forgets these with Blitzwing. He comes with these. Now, maybe one of you can tell me where this is from, what they're supposed to do, when Blitzwing uses them in any sort of media, if it's in comics, another show, whatever. They're Energon gloves, fists, hands, but in this mode they're supposed to be like extra missiles that you can attach to his vehicle mode. This mode is to put on his arm as a glove or hand or some extra little add-on that you can have for him. I think, to be honest, they chuck all this in here just to justify that leader price. Which brings me to, here, all my reviews are coming from Australia, so prices will vary depending on where you're from. But here, for this guy, it's usually around $100 or so, which is pretty dear. And he's a good figure, decent size, but for $100, you are getting this, which I will admit is a lot more than a lot of other figures are asking, but it's okay. I have found some really great deals for him though around, where you can get him for about $50, which is great. New as well, in box, in store. You just have to go looking for it. But anyhow, now let's talk about actual Blitzwing himself. We'll put his accessories aside for now, we'll talk about more of those later. Actual Blitzwing, we have full 360 head rotation there. He can look up that far, down that far. He can turn his head side to side slightly. It's a very stiff joint. Then for his arms, we have, with my figure, I don't know how some others go, but with mine, I find I have to pull up this little guard first in order to get a proper bend at the elbow. Or not the elbow, at the arm. So you can go up about that far. Unfortunately, kind of limited posability due to this, which is unfortunate because this cannot move up or out at all. So that is stationary. He's got an elbow bend at almost, or just a little over 90 degrees. He can't really bend his arm back due to his back kibble, but that's okay. Move his arm outward. Oh, there you go, just proved me wrong by it bending out, but it's not really supposed to, so there you go. But his arm can bend out that far. Exact same posability with the other arm. Now, something kind of clever, but also kind of an interesting gimmick with this figure is in order to cover up the transformation hole for his arm, they just get this panel that's on just a swivel, and you just spin that to cover that up. Which, I mean, it works, but it is also, it can be improved on, I think. So hopefully maybe when they do an 86 version of this guy, they did just do a recolor of him and they have not changed a thing, which is a shame, but maybe with the 86 version, they will improve. Anyhow, getting down to his legs, you have leg rotation up that far, back leg rotation only that far. It stops there due to his back skirt there, as you can see. His back skirt keeps his leg in place quite well. So, yeah, but you can get about 90 degrees forward, maybe like, I don't know, not very much back. But his knee joint can swivel quite far, which is quite nice. So you can get him into maybe some flying poses, what have you. So that's very good to see. I do really like that, and it's nice and smooth too, at least on my figure. Exact same with the other leg. He has a swivel out only to that far, cannot go any further. I believe that might be due to transformation or some other reason, but cannot swivel any further. He does have a waist swivel, but again, due to the back skirt, oh, never mind, you can full swivel that around, so that's always nice. But leg can swivel that far and swivel inwards that far, so about a 90 degree bend both ways. Now down at the ankle, you got an ankle pivot of 90 degrees. Very nice, very nice. And his feet do also collapse due to transformation, so you could get some alright poses using that. Now, that I believe is all for posability. Now, talking about the actual figure itself, we'll start with paint job. Paint job looks brilliant, I think. I think compared to the G1 actual like scene in show character and the actual figure, they did amazing painting this guy to exact memory. Like when I look at this guy, I think back to the show when Cup jumps on this guy's cannon and makes him aim and shoot at an Insecticon as they're attacking Hot Rod and Cup. It is brilliant. Love the paint on this guy. Now, for the actual model though, back kibble, as said before, is giant. So much back kibble. With the G1 figure, you could actually take some of this off, which was nice, but one of my biggest and like one of my favorite parts about the new figures, and one of the biggest things that got me into collecting new figures, is the fact there is no parts forming. So I don't want them to make this detachable, but if it can compact more, that would be awesome. I think though, it really doesn't bother me. I'm nitpicking at this point. It is not that big of a bother. I think the figure itself is great. And now we shall get on to transformations. Starting off with the box, and the instructions instruct you to go from bot to tank and tank to jet. So I'll see you guys in the tank mode. Okay, and here we have Blitzwing in tank mode. I love this mode so much. I think the way that, like, obviously you can tell, like, he's got the weird, like, we don't talk about that. And his head, you can kind of see in there, but you can easily solve that just by turning his head the other way, so that is just up to you. Undercarriage or under kibble, little to none. it is amazing. I can't get over how much I love this tank mode. I genuinely, out of all the studio series, all the newer figures I own, I think this might be the best tank mode of the newer Transformer figures. Please do let me know what yours is. But even like the cannons, not the cannons, the boosters on the back, the jet boosters, they're obviously for a jet, but the fact that they're there as well, it's just like, it's like, thinking about it from like a kid's perspective. I know, you know, we say these collector's items, but at the end of the day, Hasbro makes these for kids. And as a kid, you know, get those jet boosters, have him, you know, Blitzwing's in his tank mode, but he's got the jet boosters so he can move extra fast, you know? But anyways, that's enough ranting about that. He has 4 wheels, 2 on each side, making it extremely easy for him to drive. He can roll around super duper easily. His tank, I don't know what you call this, barrel, can move upwards. Now, unfortunately, it is on a click, or not a click, it's on set positions, so you can't move it where you exactly want it, which is a small problem I have with this figure. But I just can't get over how the tank mode looks by itself, so unfortunately for stop motion wise, it's very, very hard to get it in between those two, because as you can see, it just clicks between them. But that's alright. The cannon though can do a full 360. You can fully have a look at his entire surroundings. That is awesome. I love that. The details on it as well is just, it is great. Overall great. This is where those covers come in nicely. Again, it's kind of hard to make them sort of slot into a way where they don't poke out at all, but it's okay. And something I forgot to mention with the other figure, to be fair, well here, I'll get one of his guns now. We have one of his guns, and I will actually show you how the accessories work on this guy, but I'm going to quickly grab some blast effect pieces. If you've been collecting these figures for a while, you'll be familiar with them. And for other people who've only just started, these pieces come with bigger figures or more expensive figures so that you can have them interact with your figures. Well, make them like little set pieces. Unfortunately, this cannot go in the tank hole. Maybe in an 86 movie accurate one, they make a blast effect piece specifically for this guy's cannon, but he unfortunately does not. You can have it, you know, coming out the top of him, so you can be hothead Blitzwing, but don't know why you'd do that. I mean, you know, it's your figure at the end of the day. You do what you want with it. Boosters at the back, too big, nothing for it to clip on there. So that's kind of a shame. You can always have it blasting out the side if you want. He's taking fire, you can look, react, hit them back. But anyways, gun though is slightly blast effect compatible. And I only say slightly because, as you can see in the clear piece there, barely any of his gun goes in there. So there's like a little bit, and it sits on well, like it's not falling off anytime soon. But if you add any bigger pieces, it might struggle a little more. Or if you combine pieces together, it might struggle. Well, that was just, that was plainly my fault. But anyways, you get what I'm trying to say. So, for accessories though, we'll bring back out all of Blitzwing's accessories, including his weird Energon gloves, and we'll try attaching them all onto somewhere. So, we'll actually start with the gloves, because these ones, I believe, click on to here. Yes, they do. So you get that little insert piece and this front little, this little bit sticking out, and over here on the side, so this inward connector piece you put in there, and that bit at the front slides in there. So I'll try and do it so you guys can see. So we put that there, and it nicely slides in, and there you are. You've got Blitzwing with his extra missiles, I guess. I feel like that's how they advertised it. His sword, you can put it however you want on the top of him. I'm going to have it pointing backwards, that way the nose can still move up. Then you get his guns, chuck them on the side of the vehicle in the little arm slots that I showed you on the robot form. And there you are, you've got yourself one kitted out Blitzwing. Now, you know, if I was an Autobot, I'd be pretty terrified if this was heading my way, but overall, I do enjoy that everywhere, that all of his accessories have a place to go. That is one of my biggest things, because I do collect these figures and I like to display them, but I don't like having bags for their accessories. I'd rather them be able to hold all their accessories in one form, which is why this is great. I do love that this is able to happen. But that out of the way, I'll take all these off quickly. There's not too much more to add about the tank mode, so we might move on to the jet mode. But before I do that, I do want to say, even though I didn't show you guys the transformation, I am more than happy to make a separate video talking about just going through the transformation. I didn't go through it here just because everyone else does it. Everyone else goes through the transformation and shows you how to do it step by step, and that is how I learned how to transform all these figures. If you guys want me to do that, I can. I'm more than happy to, but for my reviews starting off, I'm just going to purely talk about the figure alone. Rating transformation though, it is pretty decent. Not too bad, not too slow either. My problem, like especially as a kid, when I'd play with Transformers, I'd want to transform them quick. Like I wanted to transform like that. Because, you know, when you're moving between them being a robot to them being a vehicle to then back to a robot, you want it to be quick as a kid. But then again, there are figures out there for that. These are for more collectors. So overall, I'd rate the transformation pretty high, pretty decent. It's good. The jet, on the other hand, does take a little bit more time, especially because you need to get into this mode first, but I'll get to that now, so you guys will see that in just a second. And here we have Blitzwing in his jet mode, fully transformed. Now, the jet, I do have to unfortunately say, has a lot of underkibble, but that's kind of what you have to give up in order for the rest of his modes to be good. Overall though, the jet not too bad. This underside though, I will say, the tank's top, you can sort of position how you want. If you want, you can lift it up and move it to this side and click it in there, and that can come down. That can sometimes be preferable, but that also does restrict the landing gear, which I think is awesome that he comes with a bit of landing gear. It's obviously not much, but it's something, and we got to appreciate that. So that's good. And the rest of it is pretty nice. The paint, like the Decepticon insignia there, looks great. He also still got his little Decepticon insignia there, where his chest is. This nose cone, however, I will say, and apparently this is just a thing with this Blitzwing. I'm going to put the landing gear away from now. But this nose, apparently, for a lot of people, is super duper stiff. And so is mine. So that is just a problem that's a problem to watch out for with this Blitzwing. If you're getting the new one though, the new repaint where he's like a green and black, he is apparently a lot better. So apparently the nose is a lot easier to move on that one. So from the front, it does look like a jet. It makes the jet appearance. It does it well. On the back, however, you can notice a few things, but again, with limitations, not much you can really do. And I'm not actually sure about the fists on this one, but I know there are a few places to put some stuff. If you want to give him some, like, I guess, Seeker type cannons on the side, you can do that. So get that with the other gun as well. Make sure I put it in the same way. There you are. So you can have him with both those guns set up, which doesn't really ruin the look at all. I think it looks still good with those. Then you can get the sword as well. sword right here. Everything just clips onto his underkibble pretty much. So I think with this one, it's pretty much exactly where you had it on the tank is where it's going to go on the jet. So not too much change there, but you know, I don't really think too many people are complaining about that, because when they've got him in jet mode, I think, you know, you want the jet to be as sleek as possible, so chucking all of his kibble on kind of does the opposite of that. That guy is just not wanting to stay nicely put in there. There we go. And there you are. He has everything attached to him. I don't even know where to hold this guy now. I hold him from just the jet boosters. So, weighs a lot of underkibble. He looks pretty bulky. Gotta admit, he looks quite heavy, but it's something. It was a decent attempt from them at making him accessory compatible, which we can't really complain too much about. But personally, with my Blitzwing, to be honest, I usually try to avoid jet mode. Like, again, triple changes, one of my favorite transformers, just because, I mean, come on, he can turn into 2 different vehicles and he's already like a huge robot. Like, that's awesome. But with this figure, I kind of try to avoid the jet mode, just because it's not my favorite, to be honest. I'd rather be playing around with like Starscream or something in jet mode, or any of the other Seekers. But that's because they were specifically built just to be a jet. This guy is a tank, a jet, and a bot. So I give him points for the fact they were able to do it. So I won't complain too much. And I don't know if we'll catch it on my camera, but he does have some nice detail in there. You can see he's got a bit of a cockpit in there, which is always nice. Got some extra Cybertronian detail all along here, extra like widgets and hydraulics and indents and all that stuff, which I will say is another reason why I started collecting these figures. I love all the random details that are chucked into them. Like, look at that, you can literally see the vents inside the boosters. Like, that's awesome. And then at the front here, you can see his intakes, which is great. I love it. And it's even more prominent in some of the Titan figures, which I will do on here. I just need to get a better setup for a Titan, because if I chuck one on here, you guys aren't going to be able to see any of it. The Titan figures will take up the entire screen. Anyways, Blitzwing though. Jet mode, I'm not as big of a fan of it compared to the other modes, but it is still Blitzwing and I still appreciate it, so I will gladly take it and move on. But we'll head back to the robot mode now for my final thoughts. Okay, now that we're back here with Blitzwing, in his robot mode, to be honest, because I forgot earlier, I will show you what he looks like with his gloves on. So, we get his arm, just in his hand hole, there's a little hinge in there that you can click it into. It's hard to tell because it's such a big space. There you go. So you can hold that. And there you have it. Blitzwing has one giant arm. Again, I don't remember him ever having this in any other media. Maybe I'm wrong though, so if he does ever have this, please do let me know. But yeah, I'm not going to bother putting the other one on because it's same, both sides. But it's okay. And the fingers can bend up like that if you wanted to know. Full swivel. And to put them back away, that top plug. And you just plug it into the piece in there. There you are. Nice and compact. Anyways, final thoughts on Blitzwing. I think he is a great triple changer. Character-wise, awesome. Paint-wise, amazing. It hits that G1 spot so well. Price point? Depends. If you find this guy in the aftermarket for a ridiculous amount, I wouldn't recommend picking it up. Like, over other figures, I wouldn't recommend it if his price is ridiculously high. But if you still find him in store and find him for a good price, I'd probably say here in Australia, 100 or lower. Preferably if you can find him at a store for 50 bucks like I did, which I didn't actually get this one from there. I got this one when he first came out for 100 bucks, but I found him later on 50, so yeah, unlucky me. But anyways, if you find this guy for a good price, go for it. He's amazing. Unless if you're waiting for the 86 version, which I gotta say, they're pretty random with how they release those, so don't know how long you'll be waiting for that. I'm really hoping they do an Astro Train soon, so I'm holding back. I'm trying to not buy the newest Galaxy Shuttle figure because it is Astro Train, just Autobot insignia and colors and, you know, all that stuff. I'm really trying not to buy him because I love Astro Train, maybe even more than Blitzwing. But Blitzwing is really cool, really good detail, really good paints, and come on, who doesn't like a Transformer that turns into a tank, a jet, and a robot? He's a great addition to any Decepticon army, and not to mention, as much as they're kind of random, you get plenty of accessories. You get these, which I guess you can try using them with other figures, maybe you can give him some sort of backstory where these are like Energon mining gloves or something like that. Then you get the 2 blasters, which is great because if you have him possibly just using his sword, or you can give his sword to someone else. I have, well, okay, this is spoiling a little bit. I do have a Motor Master figure, and because Motor Master's sword is designed for like him and Menasor, it's a really weird size sword, so sometimes this sword's nice to use for that. But yeah, so very good sword, just overall great Decepticon sword. Good Decepticon blasters for really any figures. His accessories are really just multi-use for any characters. And just the way that he can store away all of his accessories as well. Again, the fists, they're big enough where I know I won't lose them, so I just chuck them in the shelf with the rest of them. Like, well, with the rest of Blitzwing, I mean. And so, just clicking these guns back on. If they want to behave and go back on, there you go. I do really enjoy how sort of compact you can get this guy. I like to give him his sword, and you can pose him with that. So, overall, I don't want to do ratings because 100% I'm going to change my mind in the future, and ratings I find are kind of hard to stay true to, and also to really give people an idea of what to think of the figure. But I'd say if you're a fan of G1, this Blitzwing is great and a really good I guess coloration and build towards the G1. If you're purely wanting a triple changer, he's also good, but I'd probably say there are better. Like, I think Astro Train's model does a better job at conveying a train and a space shuttle, rather than this guy when it comes to portraying a tank and a jet. Tank, amazing. Jet, on the weaker side. But again, it's hard to do. So, overall, I do love the Blitzwing figure, and for my first review, he was a no-brainer. Blitzwing is beautiful all around, and I have so much fun with this figure all the time. And just, you know, thinking about that one scene again where Cup swings on the barrel and lifts it up, he blasts the Insecticon, and then they knock each other off the hill. Great. I love it so much. Anyways, that's going to conclude my review for Blitzwing. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is obviously my first one, so please do give me some notes. But next up, we will see which character I choose. I want to leave it a bit of a surprise to you guys. I want to save some bigger figures for next, or for some bigger figures for later, I meant. Because Blitzwing's already a pretty big guy on his own, so maybe next I'll do a smaller figure, and then another big figure, but we'll see how I go, because it is the starting. Anyways, thank you again so much. Hope you enjoyed my review on the Legacy Leader Class Blitzwing.